Hello again to all subscribers and listeners of this channel. Today I will be reviewing Attack on Titan Season 2, Episode 8, The Hunters. The episode was a much slower pace, just like Episode 2's I'm Home or Episodes 3, SouthWestWard. But like those two episodes, it does an excellent job of characterization and storytelling without the need of constant action. So let us begin. First thoughts on the episode. Really loved the opening sequence and how it picked up directly after Eren after Eren and Reiner's fight. Very good high point with the first 2 minutes. So basically when the Bertolt's Colossal Titan form falls on both of them, that picks up in the first 2 minutes. Then after that, the episode tapered off in terms of action, but really did well in establishing the relationships that certain characters had with each other. Plot. So in episode 8, we start off immediately after Bertolt slams headfirst into both Eren and Reiner in Titan form. This creates a huge explosion of steam. The steam blows away all of the scouts, crushes Eren. It does almost nothing to Reiner. Because of the steam explosion, Reiner is somehow able to get on top of Eren's Titan form, rip Eren out of his Titan's nape, out of the Titan body. Bertolt is back in his human form, and he's got the stolen ODM gear from one of the scouts that he crushed. Ymir's unconscious body as he latches onto Reiner's Titan form. Reiner then runs away from the wall, and all of them disappear into the forest, way in the distance. Some hours pass by. We meet Commander Pixis, Jean, Captain Erwin Smith, and the rest of the scouting squad that was not on the expedition near the wall. The scout tells them that what happened at Wall Rose. They're pissed, shocked, and saddened. The story then picks up at Mikasa and Armin on the Wall Rose, and Armin is looking after Mikasa. Mikasa is recalling a memory of her coming to Eren's rescue. Eren challenged 3 bullies to a fight after he caught them stealing Armin's food, and while Eren does a decent job of beating the lead bully, he can't take on all of them all at once. So Mikasa comes in and effortlessly whoops all 3 of them. Hannes gets into a fight with the shopkeeper nearby. Mikasa continues her splendid ass whooping of the 3 jerks. Eren refuses to give up fighting them despite Mikasa's fighting prowess. Armin tries to hold Eren back, and the whole street erupts into mildly funny chaos. Eventually, the fight ends except for Eren, who runs off after the bullies to finish them off. This entire dream sequence does a good job of showing the type of relationship major characters have with each other. We'll speak more on this later. The dream ends with Mikasa yelling for Eren to come back. It's at this point that Mikasa, in the current time, wakes up and yells at Armin, asking him where Eren is. And he tells her everything that happened, and he tells her how long ago that it did happen. Right when Armin and Mikasa are in their most depressed state, Hannes comes over and starts chatting with them. He cheers them up by pointing out how relentless, courageous, and intense Eren is. He reassures them that someone like Eren, who never ever gives up in a fight despite the odds, is not going to go easily into the hands of Reiner or Bertolt. Hannes goes on about the good old days when it was always those 3, Eren, Mikasa, and Armin together, and about how inseparable they were as small children. This greatly cheers Armin and Mikasa up. They randomly start devouring rations to get some energy so that they can go out and get Eren back. This poignant scene of Hannes speaking to both of them also does a good job of showing how the trio and Hannes relate to each other. Again, we'll speak more on this later. We then see an injured Hanji crawl towards the healthy scouts, and she orders them to get her a map, and she predicts where Bertolt and Reiner might be hiding. With this information, the scouts get ready for another expedition to save Eren and Ymir. Eren and Ymir wake up on a giant tree limb in front of Reiner and Bertolt. And finally, the scouts have begun heading out to find the traitors, find their captives, and bring their captives, both Eren and Ymir, back with them safely. Animation. The animation was superb, same as always. Not much else I can say. Interesting things that I noticed. Lots of interesting things noticed here. So let me get to it. 1. I think I've read before that Eren, Mikasa, and Armin represent the soul, the body, and the mind of a person. Eren has much free will and courage and never lets anything get in his way. Look at how he charged the 3 bullies despite being beaten. Or how he chased them away even though they outnumbered him 3-1. Mikasa is the body. Not as intense as Eren, but very physically adept with dealing with others. And does a pretty good job of protecting the other 2 from danger. Look at how effortlessly she destroyed the 3 boys who jumped Eren, or got into a fight with Eren. Armin is the mind. Nowhere near as fearless or as intense as Eren, and not as strong or physically fit as Mikasa. But he's incredibly intelligent, he's very clever, pays attention to detail, and he devises plans to help his comrades that are in certain situations. He's almost always the voice of reason. In the flashback, he tries to convince Mikasa and Eren to not fight. The body wants desperately to protect the soul, and the mind finds clever and intelligent ways to keep the soul and the body from receiving too much harm. Second thing I noticed. Hannes comes across almost like the aloof drunk uncle who's awesome. Because he cares, but not in a parental overbearing way. He cares from in a far way or from a distance, but still cares in a way that's deeply encouraging, warm, and genuine. You see that in his facial expression and his words when he speaks to Armin and Mikasa on top of Wall Rose. Also, he was one of the many that tried to keep the gates open back early in season 1 when they're trying to close the gate right before the armor titan busts through it. He didn't want to close the gate that quickly because he knew there were going to be people left outside. So he has a strong sense of empathy despite the fact he gets drunk a lot. So that's interesting about him. Number 3. Hannes' fight with the shopkeeper was funny. Hannes didn't land any shots, but he didn't eat any shots either. So, I don't know, that the way they just did that was kind of funny to me. The 4th thing I noticed. The overly loud eating sounds of Armin and Mikasa, the way they were eating the food and how it sounded after Hannes gave his speech was just, I don't know if they did that on purpose or what, if it was a mistake, I don't know, but that was funny the way the crunching sounded that loud. Maybe it was just me. Number 5, Hanji the badass. Despite the injuries that she got at the hands of the Colossal Titan, she wakes up out of her comatose state, or from her sleep state, orders the map, and breaks down where the traitors are, or where she thinks they are, why they will be there, and encourages the scouts to go out to that area to find them. Again, unconscious after a few hours during that ordeal of Bertolt and Rainer capturing Eren, and she goes right back into her commanding mode. Awesome. Best about the episode. The absolute best thing about this episode, I would say, was the scenes of dialogue that were used expertly to show the relationship between the trio, the 3 main characters, and Hannes. How they connected with each other since the trio's early childhood. The speech Hannes gave on top of Wall Rose was not only awesomely written, but was also uplifting without being too preachy. And the way it came across as very genuine when he was speaking to Armin and Mikasa. A really nice scene. And another good example of good storytelling that used characterization and dialogue and not just action all the time. Okay. Now, the next best sequence in the episode was when Eren and Mikasa were kicking the bullies' asses in Mikasa's flashback. That I liked too. Now, the worst thing about the episode. As far as I'm concerned, there really wasn't anything bad about the episode. It had less action overall, but that's not really a bad thing. Here's a couple things I see that were good about this episode and a couple other episodes in the season so far that had less action. A, this episode helped to set up better characterization. B, beautifully executes the dialogue. C, allows the animators to take a break since there isn't a lot of super action-filled aggressive and dynamic scenes, so they don't have to really do as much work when people are sitting talking. That I'm thinking the animators love that because it gives them a little more time to just ease off and rest a little bit after animating fight scenes and explosions and stuff, which are very hard to do. This will allow them to take a little bit of a break this entire episode. D. A good reprieve from all the craziness of the earlier episodes, especially the earlier two. And writers like Asayama Hajime, who know how to create good characters, use good dialogue, and know when to balance action sequences throughout the story, really know how to give a story a good pace and really good balance. And it really makes Attack on Titan flow very naturally. Good work. And I want to say that when the Attack on Titan series is done, Hajime might be considered one of the better manga creators of this current age. That's what I'm assuming. That's what I'm predicting. Because so far the storytelling is really nicely done, in my opinion. But favorite scene, most definitely Hannes, and towards the end of his speech, basically when he's speaking to Armin and Mikasa, and he tries to make them feel encouraged and to get Eren back and renew their faith that everything's going to go well. That whole entire thing was just very nicely done, well animated, good dialogue. It felt very genuine. It flowed really nicely, and it really solidified their relationship. Loved that whole entire thing. Also, the funny fight scene in Mikasa's flashback and the overloud munching sounds that Mikasa and Armin were making right after the speech was finished. For a 1 to 10 score, I give this episode a 9 out of 10. And overall, a much slower episode with much more backstory and good dialogue. Slower paced episode with less action that again really does a good job of showing different relationships between different characters and how those relationships evolved. Good episode. Very good episode. That's all for now. So stay tuned for more Attack on Titan episode reviews of Season 2. Also, I just added this a few days ago. Check out the tip jar on my channel page. If you want to help me create more content, go ahead and make some donations to that. Greatly appreciate it. That's all for now. I'm out. Peace.